Surely you can't build a $10 million property portfolio by the age of 28 while your first job is $10 an hour working as a tradie. You say surely not, but you absolutely can. That's exactly what Thomas has done. And he's not a buyer's agent now. He's got nothing to do with property. He just invests. He has a $10 million property portfolio that he built from scratch. And this session with the amazing co-host Steve Polisi, he breaks down row by row by row, every single purchase, the lessons that he learned, the value that he got from it, how he strategically built it. He even took a massive hit. He made a $50,000 mistake, but he kept going. It didn't stop him. If you want to get motivated and interested in property, Thomas is just his job, his business is plastering. Like, I don't even gyprock stuff, like plastering. Like it's not just it. Like he's strategic. He's thought about the business that he wanted to get in because there's opportunity there, and his portfolio has crushed it. And it's incredible to see someone so motivated and how he keeps going motivated and how he keeps rolling in the portfolio. So that's what this session is all about. Hey everyone, my name is Joe Tucker, and together with Jeff Miles, we created Oz Property Investors. We now have 85,000 property investors. That is the largest property community in all of Australia, and we're pumped to have you each week on a Wednesday and unraveling property stories, investor stories, brokers, mortgage, anyone to do with property. We have them, we interview them. You can be a fly on the wall and get value. Thomas is no exception. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I think you're going to as well. Let's dive in, guys. And we are live on Oz Property Investors, where we have the big names and we have the big fun. Welcome, gentlemen. We have a pretty incredible session tonight. It is an investor story. It is Thomas. He hasn't put his business name under here. He is not a real estate agent. He has not converted to a buyer's agency. He hasn't started his own brokerage firm, but he is 28 years old and he does have a $10 million property portfolio. How you doing, Thomas? Nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it, mate. This is unreal. And we got the amazing Steve Polisi. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Got Bob's number 2 due in a couple of weeks. So just trying to get as much Oz prop in my life as I can before I'm not sleeping.
You want to go for that round two? Round 2. It's happening.
After that, snip. I'm done. Travel's way too hard if you got 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Joe. I've got a UK partner, so I'm kind of locked into going back to the UK constantly. Doing that with 3 or 4 kids, probably not as fun booking Airbnbs that are 4 bedrooms.
Yeah. Well, I'll be going back to UK in 2 weeks' time, so I'll be there. Oh, wow. You've got to fly to the other side of the world to visit the in-laws, which is fantastic. That's what it's truly about. But Thomas, great to have you on, mate. So what should people expect from this session, Steve? What kind of little wisdoms are we going to unpack from this one?
You're asking me, Thomas.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I was going to say Steve, but what do you want to pull out of this? And Thomas, maybe you can share your insights as well.
I want to pull out, like, everyone, and we saw in the comments before, like, we jumped on, like, people are like, oh, you can't earn this type of big portfolio on this income, etc. And I just will, like, lay it out and actually show how he did it.
Yeah, and I think I will do that. But yeah, I guess a lot of hard work and determination. This just hasn't happened overnight. So, property is a long game. We all know that. So yeah, it's just piecing together all the puzzles along the journey pretty well.
Love it, man. Well, throw in your comments, guys. Throw in any questions, and we will make it happen. One thing to note is none of this is financial advice. Obviously, check with your financial planner and all that good stuff, and financial people. This is just an investor story. So let's dive in, mate. So give us a bit of a rundown. How did you kind of fall into this property game? Because from what I understand, there's no silver spoon here. You've built a $10 million property portfolio, and you haven't had that sweet, delicious silver spoon, which is incredible.
No. Well, I'll go back to the school days. I was, a pretty standard student, wasn't very academically smart, but got by, loved my sport. And it was for a couple of weeks until I finished year 12, and I wanted a gap year, and my old man said, "Oh, you can have a gap year, but if you don't find a job, I'll be putting you down at the local grocery store stacking shelves." So didn't want to do that. So I signed up for a solid plastering apprenticeship the week after that. So that sort of set me on my journey for my working career. And
can I ask a question with that? Like, I always wonder when people choose a trade.
Yeah.
Like, I get when people choose mechanic, they're like, I love cars. You rarely meet people like, I'll get into plastering. I just bloody love walls.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's been a blessing in disguise. Yeah. No, it's been a massive blessing in disguise. Like, to be honest, I went up to my woodworking teacher at school and I said, "Hey, I need a job. Like, my dad's up my ass. Like, what do you got for me?" And he put me on to an old scholar who was a family friend at the time, and he was a teacher at the TAFE, teaching solid plastering. And he put me on to his old boss, and that's how that worked. And honestly, like, it was the best thing that's ever happened to me because I absolutely love the trade. It's brought me so much, and I if I had my time again, like, I'd do the exact same trade. So it's worked out great.
For anyone watching, like most of my high net worth clients are some form of trade. Like, there's so much money to be made in Australia because it's such demand. Like, I got guys that are making $5 million a year just doing cladding. Like, and then there's a plumber who makes a couple million a year profit. Like, you can make good money. So no, like, trades are a good industry to get into for property.
Yeah, do it. And you know what? Do the trades that look ugly. Like, plastering looks bad. You're covered in crap. But to paint a bit of a picture for you, I've got a second-year apprentice at trade school this week. There are 4 of them compared to over 2,000 electrical apprentices. So you think about, when he finishes, he's going to be as rare as a hen's tooth. So, even bricklaying, tiling, gyprocking, like, it's so worth getting into. And, a lot of people who are finishing schools, and I don't know if, it's the same where you guys are, but a lot of schools are pushing kids to go to uni. Whereas I think, it should be the opposite, because a lot of AI is going to take over a lot of the jobs that you go to uni for. There's a massive incentive there for young kids to, go out and get a trade. Yeah, it's not easy work, but you can make your money for, the first 15 years after school.
Dumb question, is plastering different to gyprocking? I assumed it'd be the same sort of trade.
It's similar in a way. So you got your gyprocking, which is drywall, and you got your solid plastering, which is sand and cement over a solid substrate like your brick.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
So in Perth, all of the houses there are pretty well done in sand, cement, render, and white set, whereas your state, Adelaide, is all timber with gyprock walls.
Yeah, but then you're doing a lot of the facades and stuff as well, where you like do the sand, cement, and paint.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, externally as well. Yeah, that's it. From then, lived my life, went out and partied with the boys a lot, as all young teenagers do, and then actually got my wisdom teeth out and had a bit of a health scare. I apparently am allergic to codeine. Long story short, I had the surgery to get the teeth out, and then they drugged me up, went home, and then later that night woke up and just doubled over agony. Got rushed in. They thought my appendix had burst, so they took me into surgery.
Wow.
Took my appendix out, and then I woke up and they're like, "Oh, your appendix was fine." They're like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "I am so sick. Here, have more codeine." And then just like went into like a cardiac arrest after that. And my whole family were in the room. Yeah. It was pretty dire. And my dad was like, far out, man. Like, I thought I was going to lose you. Like, what the hell?
Wow.
And then I remember the doctors coming in because my dad was like hitting the code blue side because I was pretty well just choking, couldn't breathe. And there was one doctor just like talking to me, like saying, just breathe. And I said to him, like, am I dying? And he's like, just didn't reply to me, for obvious reasons. You didn't want to say that you're going to die.
Didn't want to lie to a dying man.
Well, it's not your appendix bursting again, that's for sure.
What's that?
It's not your appendix bursting again, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then after that, I really just looked at my life and thought, mate, I've got nothing to my name. Like, I've been, here for about 20 years. I was about 20 years old. I've got no real ambitions. I'm sort of just getting by. And after that, I really looked at my life and said, like, let's make something of this. And so I said, I want to start my own business. And to do that, like, I need to purchase a property before I go into business because I know how hard it is to get finance. Like, once you start your property, once you start your business, sorry.
So how did you get into property? Like, how did you? Were you in the hospital, like, reading property books and podcasts and?
No, not at all.
Yeah, how did it kind of off the property bug?
I'm not too sure. Like, my sister bought her house when she was young, and like, our parents have been pretty good at saying, save up your pennies, get into the property market, don't leave it too late. So we've had good advice around us, but it was really because I wanted to start my own business. That's what prompted me to save enough money so I could have something under me in case everything went to shit, essentially. And so the first property I looked at was in Bridgewater in Adelaide. But mind you, prior to that, I'd been looking for years on end and was just getting outbidded at auctions and
years on end.
Hey,
what years you were looking for property for years?
Yeah.
Before you kind of pulled the trigger.
I was 20 when I had that hiccup in the hospital. And then so from that age until the age of 22, so a 2-year gap from like when I was like full on like looking at properties in the western suburbs of Adelaide. Looking back, like, yeah, there were some crackers, but at the time I was like, man, I'm just getting priced out.
Was the price out at the time just like 10, 20 grand and there's difference of like a $2,000 deposit?
Yeah. You were getting like properties like 5Ks from the CBD in Adelaide for like 550K. And I thought that was too much. Look back now, I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Was there something that was stopping you? Like, was it actually you were just getting outbid for a whole year? Like, surely you would have learnt your lesson to be like, well, actually the property's going, or was there something else that was holding you back as a newbie and fresh?
Yeah, like getting the lending for sure, and my deposit because I was still an apprentice. I didn't get signed off till I was 22, so yeah, like that was the main constraint. Just saving enough money for a deposit. So I was just rocking up to auctions, really hopeful that no one else would rock up and we could negotiate a cheaper deal. That was literally my plan. But then, came across a house in Bridgewater, and this was just as COVID came through. So there was, just the whole market was just in,
no one was
a
there.
really scarce market. Yeah, 3 contracts prior to me, like having a look, failed. And my dad at the time was actually working for CBA in the agricultural sector. So he put me onto, his brokerage team, and they helped me out to get the finance and purchase that one for 535K. And that honestly just set the journey for me. Like prior to that, I had no idea what property investing was, what it meant, and cheap finance and the rental income. Like I was positive like $150 a week. And I remember just being like 6 months in, and I was like, why the hell does no one else do this? Like, how come no one speaks about this? And then just essentially just did a massive deep dive into this whole new world of property investing. And I was just addicted to learning more information and just, really consuming every piece of information I could.
What was some of the good stuff like that kind of helped you a lot? Like what resources? Were there specific books or podcasts and things that obviously Oz Property was a big part of the journey?
Yeah, exactly. It was. I think that was one of the first Facebook groups I joined, to be honest.
Oh, really? Well, I think we started
for sure. For sure, mate. You guys don't have 85K followers for no reason. So
yeah, we hit 85K. We hit 85K today, which is good.
Oh, cool. Congrats, man.
Go 85. Sorry, mate.
But I think I think a massive one for me was actually looking at podcasts like these, like seeing how other people did it. Because that gives you the best insight, because there is a lot of information out there, and a lot of the information isn't relative to what you need to do to get yourself started, because as you guys know, like the landscape of property investing changes like pretty quick. So you have to change your strategies. Like now, like I think I've changed my strategy 6 or 7 times, just, given, where we're at. Like you've got to evolve with the time and what's happening in the industry. So that's
and I think that's where people get a little bit stuck. They get all this analysis paralysis. Like for me, what I love to do is just set a strategy that if I just buy, 5, 6, 7 properties, I can actually hit my goal. And that's just basic, mathematics of reverse engineering, how to get there. And it's good for me. It's just good to know I'll be okay if I just went real basic. And then on the other side of what do I need to do now? Like, what does this next property need to be to allow me to get in the next one? It's just focusing and narrowing in on that. What is the best decision to make right now, but making sure that I don't screw myself over for the next one. And then I can go get that next best deal when it is. And then just looking at the strategy and being like, oh man, I never was going to have development in my repertoire. And then all of a sudden we're subdividing and renovating and doing all of this other crazy stuff, but you just don't have the confidence. You don't have the skill. You don't have the knowledge when you're buying that first property. And it's absolutely okay, because maybe talk us through that Bridgewater deal. Like what was it? Just a standalone house, or did you think about renovation or subdivision? What did that look like?
No, I was really lucky, like going into it, COVID, got it cheap. They had literally just renovated the property, so it looked perfect. It's on a pretty steep hill, so we can't subdivide it, whereas everything else is subdividable. But as I mentioned before, like it just got the wheels turning for me. And I just desperately wanted a house under my belt so I could start my business. Like really just getting a property for me, I couldn't afford to live in it at the time, given my wage. So I had to rent it out so that the banks would give me the finance, which I'm glad that happened, because if I lived in it, I probably wouldn't know what property investing was. So you just got to get started, because really you're diving into a world of so many unknowns. And yes, you can do so many analysis on it, but until you actually bite the bullet and get into it, you don't really know what you're up for. And that's my opinion anyway.
I want to touch on a word you said. You said you got lucky. You did not get lucky. You spent a year looking at deals, going to auctions, doing all the hard work. Like you did it. It's not luck. The people who get lucky, the idiots who just buy something and go, oh, well, we're not. You did the hard yards. It's funny you mentioned the auctions as well. On my second and third property, I was trying to buy a property in Newcastle, and I was driving up on Thursday nights for the auctions. And one of the properties I was like, if it's any less than 230, I'm going to buy it. The 230 grand, by the way, for a house. And it was 200K. And I sat there frozen. I'm like, no one's bidding. I'm like, there's something wrong with it. I'm missing something. And I didn't buy it. I'm just like, and I was like 25, 26. I can only imagine being a 20-year-old going to an auction.
Yeah, it was pretty daunting. But I learned so much in that like time frame of the 2 years of looking for a property, and got like really friendly with agents as well, which has been a massive help for me in my investing journey.
Was there anything that kind of stood in your way or almost like unstuck you, where you were like almost stopped you from pulling the trigger, I guess? Like, was there is there anything that stopped you, or have you just been, hell yeah, we're going to make this happen? Because I guess you had the support of your parents, like not financially, but emotionally, and being like, yeah, go for it, go do it, because it's going to reward.
When I want to do something, I just literally blur out everything and like, I'm going to do that. So I'm very headstrong in that way. And as I said before, like I really wanted to start my business, and I didn't see any other way to do it other than, getting an asset underneath my belt prior to doing that. For whatever reason at the time, like I think my dad definitely pushed me towards that as well. So yeah, I've definitely got my parents to thank for pushing me into property. But even now, like with my dad working for the banks, like he's seen a lot of people, fail on their loans, and he has like in the past, like when I first started, said, hey, like, do you know what you're doing? Like, I've seen a lot of people get into some real financial stress, and it can be a burden. So, you want to know that you're doing okay. But now he sees what I've done and what I've achieved. He's like, oh, you're fine. You're sweet. You know what you're doing. So yeah.
So then the next purchase, what did that kind of look like? So we've got one property. What was it? 24, 22? How old were you? Sorry?
Yeah, at 22. Yeah.
22, yeah. And then
that was in
19.
2020.
And then what was the next acquisition? How did that kind of go? Did you start making the equity and it was like, oh shit, what do I do with this stuff now? Or how did that
Well,
kind of
yeah,
look?
everyone knows what happened with COVID there. Property prices just went ballistic. But I'll go a step back. As soon as I purchased that Bridgewater house, I started my business. And that started really well. Like I went off to a flyer, and same sort of mentality. I quit my job with who I was working with, and I literally had no plan B, which was the best case for me, because I just sold myself like you couldn't believe to like all these builders and people, and just tried to drum up as much work as I could. And I sort of put the property thing aside because I got my property and I was happy. So I was really focusing on the business. And with that, I knew that, getting finance was pretty difficult once you had started your own business. So it would have been a year after my purchase of Bridgewater that the property real estate agent called me, who sold me the property. She was like, oh, like, how's it all going? Like, your property is probably worth like 150 to 200K more. And then that sparked it for me, like I'm getting paid $150 on top of my repayments per week. And I've made like 150K, from just the market going up. Which, yeah, really sparked my interest. And my now wife was in this journey. Like I can't not give her a plug in this, because we've pretty much built this portfolio together. So yeah, we had a discussion, and she started work. So I pretty much said to her, I was like, hey, like I've made a bit of money through the business, and also we've got a fair bit of equity. Like, how would you feel if we teamed up and purchased a house together, like another investment property? And she saw like what Bridgewater had done for me, so she was all keen. Her family are very similar in the fact, like, you know, they have their own house, and they would always push their kids to get a property. So the next one was in Balhanna, which is Adelaide Hills again. And she purchased that at auction for 550K. And this one's an absolute banger. This one is like on 2,500 square meters. It's a 3-bed now, 1 bath, but we can actually put 5 dwellings on it. So
Retaining the front house or knocking the other one down?
Nah, knocking it down. But yeah, it's on a beautiful street. It was an absolute steal. I don't know how we got it that cheap. It'd probably, be valued at close to $1 million, I'd say now, just given the land size and what you can do development wise. So that one was really good.
That's so good. I mean, right now, we're only talking about 2 acquisitions, not only, but like we're already at a 50% LVR. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's got a $10 million property portfolio. And it's like, this is how it's done. Like, it takes years. It doesn't take minutes to be able to get this thing, but still 5 years, 5-6 years ago. Crazy. Incredible
just
result.
over 5 years. So but from Bridgewater to the Balhanna one, I reckon that would have been like just over a year, maybe coming up close to 2 years. So we did give it time to for the business to make the money.
Because you wouldn't be able to lend, right? As a small business, they wouldn't have lent you any money.
That's why I teamed up with my now wife as well. So,
so you helped. You took equity out of your place and then used her borrowing ability and serviceability, combined forces, and then was able to buy a property.
Correct.
See,
correct. Because I had a bit of money in the business as well, and I was like, I want to make this work for me. Like, this is worked so well for Bridgewater, like, let's do it again. So that was my thought process with that, and it's paid dividends.
Well, that's one of the things, like, people are just, I've started, I'm even bloody, I'm a part of this as well. Like, I had the opportunity to buy an investment property or start my business. I had, I don't know, like 180K saved. And I'm like, well, I'm going to start a new business. It's going to be a little scary. I should buy, but I want to buy a property, but I'm like, no, I need to be more reserved. And stupidly, I, cash flow positive from day one. But I then have all of this cash, but I've got no borrowing ability because I can't borrow. So then I'm just sat on my hands, and there's nothing that I can do. But there is always something you can do. There's always like joint ventures you can do. There's always getting a money partner or a borrowing capacity partner or finding deals, running developments. There's so much opportunity. For you, it was, let's have a chat with the missus and combined our forces to create something. So there that's like sat down saying, well, I can't do anything because I just started my business. Maybe. But have you run any other scenarios? Yeah, there's always a way.
There's pros and cons, Joe, because like when you're not buying like Thomas did, you're focusing energy on the business. And that's why if you're trying to throw all these balls in the air, he wouldn't have been hounding all the builders and be getting the contracts, which would put him in a better position now. So it's always balancing. And then it's obviously different if you like got kids and family and more responsibilities. If you're still living at home or with your partner or in a share house, different game to someone thinks. So it's always like hindsight's great, but you could have also bought in the wrong area and it did nothing, and then you had to close up your business because it was draining your bank account. So, there's always a trade-off. You're definitely right.
Yeah, what were some of the trade-offs early on? Because everyone talks about how great it is to make $200,000 of equity in a year. What were some of the things that you would have had to have made sacrifices? What did they look like?
Oh, definitely. Like to give you an example, like we would go away like camping every weekend. I'm a keen surfer, so I'd be buying a board like once a month. Like I could tell you seriously, like I would do the bare minimum at work and just go surfing as much as I could. And like just had to completely cut back, sell like pretty much everything I've got, sold my car, just to get enough money for that initial deposit. Working weekends, cashies on a Sunday. You know,
Yeah.
we just worked. Like if there was ever an opportunity to work, we would work. So, you know, like our social life, you know, like I had mates going to Bali for surf holidays. You know, I would love to be there, but I just had a goal in mind, and I was going to do anything to reach that. So, yeah, just really, really self-disciplined ourselves to be able to get to where we are today. And yeah, it's paid off.
Looking back, is there any difference between like if you were like an employee earning an income versus starting a business of how you might have done things differently? Or at the time you were just young, you just like, let's just earn as much money as I can and put it into property?
Yeah, I was this young, and you know, very, very driven to do what I'm doing now. So like I knew. I'll give you an example. Like when I was doing my apprenticeship, I saw these youngish guys. They would have been like mid-30s, and they're builders, and they did a lot of developments themselves. And getting to work on their sites when I was apprentice, I'm like, that's pretty cool. You know, like I've always had a passion for property, and my apprenticeship, you know, sort of enabled that. And so in the back of my mind, like I always knew that if I wanted to be something like that, you know, I'd have to get into the property game. So from a young age, like I've always aspired to be someone like that. So I just put everything in place to give me the best opportunity to get as close as I can to, you know, being those developers. So yeah.
I imagine as well you weren't doing the usual small sole trader thing of trying to run everything at a loss, of obviously
Great
putting
point.
everything through the business, because you mentioned like you sold the car and that. So it sounded like you were just collecting all the money so you could put it in, whereas a lot of people don't do that. They go like, oh, cool, I'll go buy the 50 grand Hilux and, oh no, I've only earned 60 grand this year and I can't obviously borrow.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of the stuff that we did sell was prior to me actually being able to afford enough money for Bridgewater. So yeah, like, but same thing. Like I bought a Ford Transit when I first started the business, and I held on to that for 4 years. So like that was my everyday car, like one of those big Ford Transits. So. But like cars don't matter to me. Like I don't care. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. Like, and if you judge me because I drive a van, like so be it. Like I don't really give two shits.
My 10-year portfolio doesn't give two shits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's my biggest flex.
What yeah, that's what Steve was kind of getting at is I bet you see so many tradie mates around that run a successful trades business, but then they're trying to get their tax down as low as possible, buying a Hilux, serving, you know, trying to get their tax as low as possible. And then when they go to the banks, they're not able to borrow. Like, do you see that a lot? Do you give them like advice or tips and tricks and stuff and be like, stop doing this, you silly bugger? Or,
Yeah. I mean, like I keep pretty close to myself, to be honest, when it comes to, you know, looking at other people's finances. Like that's up to them. And it's something that you've got to tell yourself that, you know, like if you want to do better, you've got to figure it out for yourself. I don't want to be that guy that's on the street saying you need to do that or you need to do this because I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, with that being said, like they're everywhere.
Neither does Steve and
I.
Neither does Steve and I.
Yeah, you guys would see it all the time too. But I think a part of my journey, like I've learned along the way from connecting with mortgage brokers, accountants, you know, when you earn an income and it's June 30, you go see the accountant. After that, you have a look at your income for the year, and then you got to strategize like what you do with it. And that's where a mortgage broker really comes in handy with how to set that up so you can it allow you to, you know, progress in your property portfolio. Whereas the accountant, if you've got the wrong one, they'll say, and mine actually did this. He said, hey, you've earned X amount. Let's try and dial it back so that you don't have to pay as much tax. And then
Sounds great.
luckily enough, I bumped into a new broker by this stage. Like I've gone through 3 or 4. And he says, nah, like put through as much profit as you can. Show the banks that you make, that money, because then they're going to lend you more money, which is going to allow you to purchase more property in the future. So these are all things that I've learned along the way as well. So just know the right people. If you're unsure, like always ask, for professionals' help, because if you sort of wing it, you won't do well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's so many people out there that are a step or 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead of you that can give you just so much, like, this is what you shouldn't do. This is what steps you can avoid. This is how I messed up, or this is how I've seen people messed up. Exactly like what your dad said, the broker side of things. So having conversations with people, I think, is and also getting yourself around people that actually are doing this thing, to know that it's actually possible. You're like, dude, you're so much, like, you're a lot less smarter than me. How do you have, X, Y, and Z? This is crazy. Does that mean I can do this? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But
you
that's why
definitely have to drop your ego to the. Sorry, you go, Steve.
Oh, sorry. That's why this group's so successful, though, because like these lives, you get to see people that you relate to. Like, I could go online and do the best educational video about this is why you need a good property accountant, a property broker, and this is what they do and how they structure, blah, blah. No one will listen, but someone, and that's why we're hounding on about like what type of trade Thomas does. A tradie's going to look at him being like, I want to be like that. Oh, he mentioned I needed a good accountant and I got to put money through it, and they'll actually do it. Some bearded guy who's already made it, he's not going to listen to.
Yeah. And you got to drop your ego as well. Like I feel like a lot of people who are in, good financial positions think that, I've got this, I've got that, like I've got a really good income. I don't need to go out there and, put my ego to the side to do better. But honestly, like it's the best thing you could do is just ask people so many questions. Sometimes, sometimes, you won't like the answer, but go chat to another 5 people, and then you might find someone who you can relate to, and that might be the best answer for you.
Yeah, and it's so true, because people who are smart and switched on and have achieved something, and then you come in with it as a, thicky dum-dum saying, hey, you're so cool. Like, how did you do this? And then just keep asking how and what, who, what, why, when, where, and how. And you will get those 5 questions, asking those 5 things, who, what, where, why, and how. You'll crush it. But it's being the dumbest in the room, and they will tell you, and they will give, we'll break it down even further. Like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is possible, because people love it, like, telling them how, not so much how great they are, but like, I did this. This is crazy. I can't believe, like, Jeff and I, we bought a property. We paid $435,000. It's now worth $600,000. We subdivided off the lot. We got the land for free, but we're building a house on it. $600,000. It's going to give us $715 a week in rent. This is crazy. I'll tell everyone about that because it's so cool. So yeah, be a thicky dum-dum.
Always ask questions, and like, don't be nervous to ask someone who might be in a better position than you, like the questions that you want to know, because take it from me, like I have worked at many high-end residential houses here in Adelaide, people who are far more successful than me, and if you were to put me there when I was 19, looking at them, I would have been shit scared of them. But I say, hey, like, this is my situation. Like, how did you get to where you are? Like, and honestly, like, they've invited me in for coffees on Saturday morning and offered me, all this advice, and that's worth its weight in gold. So yeah, put your ego to the side and just ask questions.
It's funny you mentioned you had not a great broker and not a great accountant at the start. And actually, weirdly, it's weirdly lucky to have that at the start, because you realize that you're doing something wrong. I find a lot of investors struggle when they've got an average accountant and broker, because they're not bad enough to walk away from, but they're not good enough to get them to the next level. And I did the same thing. I was going to the banks and paying LMI, even though I had the equity there. Like, I was doing stupid things. And then that forces you to be like, you go to the next broker and you're like, I don't want to pay an LMI again. Like, fix it. And you start actually doing it. Whereas if I went to a mediocre broker and didn't have that, you wouldn't have fixed it. So but people get scared. You just got to start pulling the thread. And then after that, you'll work out what's not working and you can step it up.
Yeah, I think it's really important to like have the people on your side who, if you want to give them a call, they'll pick up, and you can just throw like a wild like idea at them, and you can strategize about it. Like my broker, he's great, and he says, you know, like, man, you come up with the craziest shit, but I love it. And that's great because like I'm comfortable. Like, whereas if I had some, you know, nonchalant broker who thought his shits don't stink, like, and I'd be nervous to call him. And, you know, I'd feel stupid, you know, strategizing what I could do next, whereas it's not stupid. And, you know, it's always good to have these conversations, and you might actually find something new, and your broker might be like, oh, you know, that'll work. That's a good idea. So yeah, that's really important to have the people on your side that you can easily relate to.
What were some of those things? Like, what were like the key value points that you were just like, light bulb moment, holy shit, thank you, Mr. Broker. I'll buy the coffee. I'll pay for the latte.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got 4 houses in, and we hadn't set up a trust company yet. So like, you know, when we met the broker after the 4th deal, like, it was a whole new world. And then I'm like, you know, just possibilities with that, and restructuring our portfolio with how we've got it today. So yeah, I mean, like a good example was we bought a property in Mount Barker, which was our owner-occ at the time. This would have been in 2023. There was our biggest purchase at that point in time. We bought it for 1.1 mil.
Wow.
20 acres of land. Yeah, it was going to be like our own rock. So we loved it. We bought it really cheap. Like I remember putting an offer in at 1.1, which was, you know, 300K below the asking price. But I thought, you know what, like, we'll try our luck here. And the agent said to us, if you can come up 250 grand, it's yours. And I said, yeah, no, all good. And then 2-3 days later, she gave me a call back, and I didn't have the number saved on my phone. She's like, oh, congratulations, you got it. I'm like, who is this? And she's like, oh, that Mount Barker property, like the lady, she wants you to have it. And so, yeah, that was a massive win for us.
She wants you to have it. Was there like other bidders that were at the same price? Did you have a story? Were you like one of those, me and my missus, we're doing this? Like, did you go the emotional angle? Or?
Yeah, we went the emotional angle. We were like, oh, you know, we want to get married. Like, we'll have a wedding on the property, and like, we'll start a family here, and which was true at the time. Yeah. Like, we're not living there anymore. But we did get married there last year, which was beautiful.
Is Mount Barker, is that out past Handorf, that German town?
Yeah. So yeah, we bought that for 1.1, and then within the year, like, we got it revalued by the banks, and it was like 1.5. And it was under our personal names, and that was killing us for borrowing power. And then, you know, met up with this new mortgage broker. I'll give him a plug, Peter Savage. So yeah,
he's a crack shot broker. He's good.
Yeah. So we sort of had strategies with him, like how to go forward with our investing journey. We're tapped out on borrowing. So
how was the cash flow as well? Like $1 million owner occupied debt is quite a lot. Like, was it borrowing capacity and cash flow where you're like, oh, we're starting to go? Or was it just, cash flow's fine and the business is helping support that? Or was it still positive at that point?
Yeah, no, it wasn't positive. I mean, like the houses that we had. So we had 3 investment properties at that point, plus Mount Barker. There's one that we didn't speak about, which was in Happy Valley, which we bought soon after Balhana. And that was in the mid fives as well. And then, same thing, that had a really good yield attached to it, and then went up in value. So we thought 3's enough. Let's buy our own. And then bought this one in Mount Barker. Personal names, that's a big mistake that we made.
What, the PPOR in your personal name?
Well, at the time it was a mistake, but after living there for a year, we're like, we want to keep investing, and we did buy that because the Mount Barker development zone runs along the back fence of this property at Mount Barker that we own. So we sort of bought it in hopes that in 20 years, that 20 acres will get subdivided. So we love it there, but we were like, you know what, we're still young. We were 25, 26 at the time. We're like, let's move out, let's rent it out. We can get good rent for it. So we went to the drawing board, and Pete was like, how about we sell this to a trust, we'll pay stamp duty, and then we'll take out the equity, and then that will give us the power to go and purchase more properties. So that's exactly what we did. We had to pay a bit of a success fee there on stamp duty, which is a pain. But that really set us up to do some pretty cool things.
So why did that change? What did it do? I don't talk us through how that actually works.
Yeah. So essentially what happened was we had a large debt attached to our names because we had 4 properties, and pretty much our servicing was tapped out because we didn't have Mount Barker rented out, and to go and buy another house, we just couldn't borrow the money. So that putting the property in Mount Barker into a trust pretty much diminished a lot of the debt that was in our personal names, so that when we went to go to the bank to borrow more money, it was, we had better servicing.
So that property was cash flow positive. So the Mount Barker with the rent on 20 acres at $1.1 million was cash flow positive? How?
We rented it out for $1,400 a week.
Jesus. It's like almost 1,400. That's over 5% yield.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Because you've gone over the benchmark of if you're buying one acre, for instance, people they're going to pay a normal rent. By getting 20 acres, you get the people that want to be on 20 acres and will pay the premium for it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got this family in there that have horses. So they've got a whole full horse facility there, and a beautiful 2-story house. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. So it's a pad. It's a really nice place.
Cool.
So bloody good. So did you have to think about the LVR to, did you have to chuck in extra money to get it to that next level to be cash flow positive? Or was it just the straight swap? You're all good to go. Now you've opened up $1 million of borrowing capacity in your personal name. You're able to now borrow a shitload. Let's go. Or what did that kind of look like?
From then, we refinanced out, and then a fair bit of business cash went into that Mount Barker deal to make it actually work. So that's how that worked. We moved back in with the in-laws, my wife's parents. So we're laying low there for a while, and then we sort of just relaxed for a bit and strategize what we actually wanted to do. And then we had a fair bit of equity with all the properties, so we thought, all right, let's keep going, and we bought our next place in O'Sullivan's Beach, which is next to Christie's Beach there. Bought that for $530K, and that had a granny flat well, it had a dwelling at the back, which was used as a shed, and we converted that into a granny flat. So we rented the whole block out for, you know, $780. So again, we just whacked that one into another trust as well. And that one's subdividable as well. We'll probably put two properties at the back of that.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions, is like your portfolio is starting to like become now value add. You're now starting to think about subdivision. You're now starting to think about granny flats and development. Like how did the strategy evolve over time?
Well, I guess like I looked back to when I was apprentice and I saw those guys who were doing all of these developments, and just pinpointed what they were buying, and how they went about their developments as well. So when I've been looking for property, I've always looked for, you know, properties over 650 squares, a pretty generic house. Like every house that we've bought, we've done a cosmetic reno to them ourselves. So we'll get the keys, we'll go in there for a month. I'll make it all look pretty with the rendering and all of that jazz. But yeah, per property, we probably spend about like 30 grand. And, you know, from what the real estate agents say we'll get in rent, we'll probably try and get like $100 to $150 per week more. And that really helps us in terms of, you know, going forward, because like up until now, our property's been cash flow neutral. Like we haven't really been having to put any cash into our portfolio.
Was this at the point interest rates were climbing as well? So you might have started changing your strategy, being like, oh, this is not going to be like easy as it was when I bought my first one in 2020?
Yeah, definitely. 2023 was when the rate hikes were starting, and that's pretty well when we purchased Mount Barker, and that's what, you know, brought on the, you know, okay, what should we do here going forward? So we had to revisit the drawing board and actually really think, okay, if we just buy a property without doing any renovations, like we're probably going to be negative cash flow. So we need to find those hidden gems and get them to where they need to be so that we're neutral. So yeah, my wife and I, we're pretty calculated in the sense that we don't want to be paying overs for anything, because, you know, it's a bit of a hindrance in the back of your mind. So, you know, we've gone through the process, making sure that we're making the right decisions. So trying to find an ugly duckling and turning it into, you know, something that's desirable.
Well, you've got a very cool skill set that can do that.
Yeah.
This question is probably for like the tradies following though. How did you manage though? Obviously, you're growing a business for yourself, but then also buying all these cool properties that require like a month of your time. Would you go in and just smash out the month and do it as quick as you can and sacrifice the business a little bit, or did you try to do it on the days you didn't have work?
I was weekends after work, like every day. I didn't stop working. We're too busy. I couldn't do that. So like all the stuff that I couldn't do, like electrical, plumbers, they would come in, they would do it. You know, it's handy being a tradie because you've got all the connections. So yeah, like we'd go there after work. Like my wife would go there before her work and set up, you know, the trades in the morning and say, yep, you guys are right. Do you need anything? This goes here, that goes there. And we're both working full time. So, you know, again, it's down to sacrifices. You just got to make it work. If this is what you want, you got to
take away that the people need to listen to is nothing comes easy. Like you have sacrificed for a long time. Like your relationship would have really suffered as well. Like just being constantly tired, working, angry. Like there's sacrifices to get to this level.
But the best thing is like when that's done and it's rented out, like you just look at each other and you just say, that's worth it. You know, like we did that. And it's really, you know, it fills you with joy. So, you know, don't be afraid of hard work because it'll pay off.
I want to jump into the next property that you've gotten to, because I feel like this is a little bit of a turning point for the portfolio, because now you might be starting to head into more negative territory from a cash flow perspective. But we do have to run to our first sponsor, and then we'll unpack this next property and then the rest of the portfolio. And then how can people do this in 2026 now? Like, what are the strategies that you're implementing now to carry on? Because you've still got time left.
Oh, Jeff, I wish there was 3 investing books that covered everything property.
Oh, Joe, there is. Steve has 3 books now.
That I do, guys. I've got 3 books now. You probably don't even have to follow this group anymore. Just kidding. You want to keep seeing and hearing from me, of course, so stay involved. But in all seriousness, if you want to get the full picture of investing, residential, commercial, and development, these 3 books have you covered for the fundamentals. For OzProp members, here's the best part. I'm giving these books to you for free. Just cover the postage and I'll send them right to your door. Go to policeyproperty.com or click the link below and get your copies today. You can also get all my spreadsheets, checklists, and resources free on my website. Happy reading, gang.
I caught you. Oh, hey guys.
That was perfect.
What an accident.
Gotta get my money's worth.
Oh, that was amazing.
Golden. So, So was this next point, like you got the other one that was cash flow neutral. So the portfolio is cash flow neutral. Are we going into negative territory? Like how did you think about that, and how's that strategy changing?
Yeah, I mean, like we weren't, but there was always a mindset in my mind that tread with with care, because obviously when you're neutral, it doesn't feel like you're neutral. It feels like you're bleeding a bit, and then you might get the odd council bill, or you might get the odd repair, so in fact you're probably not neutral. So treading with care, and that's what probably led me into my next purchase, because the purchase was just over a year ago, in Geelong, Norlane, and that was 388k.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it on the map?
Yeah.
Is it like what did you say, corner block? Is it like in a very bad pocket of Norlane, like social demographics? Did you look at any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but it's worked wonders for me. It's on a corner block. It's 600 square meters, and it rents for it covers the mortgage. It rents at about like 400 a week.
Was this first one outside of South Australia?
Yeah, this is my first one. And that was great. Like that was a full new experience for me. Like it was a bit of out of like my normal territory, because I used to love going to opens, and like looking for a potential development site. But I just knew at that point in time, like, you hear about it all the time, like people picking up these cheap gems and they work wonders. And I wanted a piece, like I wanted to figure out, what it was all about. So purchased that.
Can we just specifics, like 388, so the rent must be like 400 to 450, but you would have used debt. Yeah, you would have used equity from the rest of the portfolio. So you wouldn't be positive, surely, because that debt costs money to take it out of one property and put it into the other.
Yeah. I mean, look, to be honest, we go pretty easy on the equity. A lot of the money has come from the business as well, because through the years, like my business has grown, and I don't believe in putting money in shares. I don't put money into my savings account. I literally work up enough, and then literally put it into a bucket company, and that bucket company is property. That's how I go about it.
Yeah.
Was
Nice.
it,
So
was it
How do
scary
you- how
buying
do you-
the interstate because you lose your skill set, which is obviously looking at the
Yeah.
properties and picking gems.
I mean, buying a house for 380K
Yeah.
sort of took that away a bit. Like I wasn't
Yeah,
too
true.
phased about it.
Yeah.
The numbers made sense, so I bit the bullet and went for it. And honestly, that's been the best investment I've probably had for a little while. Don't get any issues. It's worth over 550 now. So yeah, that one's done really well for me. But yeah, like my wife's parents had a family friend. They checked out the property for me and said, yeah, it's all good. So it was nice to have that backup as well.
How'd you decide on Geelong? Like, why was Geelong the market to place it?
Oz Property, mate. I watched your Geelong segment.
So good.
Like a few things, like definitely there was a buzz around it. Like I think investing is pretty easy these days. Like all you need to do is just follow.
Sorry, wrong button.
Well, all you need to do is just follow like where everyone is, speaking of hotspots, and there's a good chance.
But not for too long.
Not for too long. No. Like buyers agents are going to hide their suburbs and areas until the last minute. So, yeah, you just got to follow along the journey. Like I remember last year, I was calling up agents in Darwin because I've heard a few things about buyers agents going there. And, they told me all the buyers agents who were buying property over there, and they wanted to give me deals off market because I wasn't a buyer's agent. So I did not end up doing it because I didn't see much value in Darwin personally. So yeah, just doing a lot of homework, and that's what I did. Like I was calling so many agents, getting their opinion on the Geelong market and where they see their things going. Just having those conversations with people, and then, gut instinct as well, looking at market trends and all of the above.
That's so good. Yeah. And Geelong is, 380 to 550 is incredible in just a year.
Yeah.
And did you renovate that? Like, because your strategy's now changed. Like you're not there, you did that. Does that mean you can't do that extra value add?
Yeah, no, I've just left it. Yeah, it is how it is when I bought it, which has been great.
Will it work down the track, maybe in like 5 years, 10 years, replace kitchens, bathrooms, and that type of thing?
Yeah, definitely. But at that same time as the Geelong purchase, a property came up in Christie Downs that was just a massive eyesore, and I couldn't turn away from it. And we pretty well purchased that at the exact same time as Geelong. So that one was a nightmare. Just trying to get finance and everything ready because I only did the settlement for like 45 days, and Pete the broker was just like, mate, like this is going to be tough, but we'll get it done. And that one was like a full renovator, which was really good. And we're just going through council now to put 2 dwellings at the rear of that one.
That's so good.
Yeah, so we bought that one for 650. Completed like a full cosmetic reno, and then got renters in there, put all the lease terms in, saying that in 6 months' time, we're going to have surveyors, and they're all sweet with that. So yeah, that one's been really exciting. That one's been a really cool one.
Is there any general fear with like lack of diversification? We've got quite a lot in like Adelaide, and like it's doing quite well now, but when it cools off, that they're going to have to be sitting there, and there might be an exit strategy to that: sell them and move them to different assets, or the business is doing well enough and then you just move to the next market. But you've got quite a few obviously in the same region.
Yeah. And people ask me this quite a lot, and that like I will develop most of these properties. So like we are actually starting that process now. We're getting plans done we're submitting plans to council for Christie Downs. So yeah, we're really going through the process of expanding our portfolio through, these developments, which is something that we wanted to do, in our later 30s. But given how well the property portfolio has expanded, we thought, why not try it now? Like, we don't really need to buy more properties. Let's, work with what we've got. And, we have the option to sell or, refinance out and look to buy like a pretty decent commercial asset, which has always been the goal. And, even if we do buy a commercial asset in a couple of years, we could probably, restart the journey again, like, keep buying those renovation development sites and start from scratch.
So how would you explain your strategy? Like just simply just say, this is what I do. Like, this is what we're doing now and going forward. Like, how would you explain it? Strategy.
My strategy is find a diamond in the rough that you can develop. And also it's not going to cost you a bomb to hold. So if that means, the existing house is run down, you got paint peeling off the wall and your carpets need to be redone, all that stuff is actually relatively cheap to renovate. Whereas people, walk into a home like that and they absolutely freak out. Whereas I'm pretty lucky with my trade. Like I've got the right contacts. I know the right people where I can complete, a renovation and turn an ugly duckling into, something pretty good. So that's my strategy. Look for opportunities that most people can't. And if there's an added bonus for subdivision in the future, that's an added bonus, because at the end, of all this, when we're ready to cash out, we will, transfer our money into a commercial asset.
So you will then buy, so you've kind of built your asset base is what you're saying. I've got a $10 million asset base and I've got a couple of options. I can sit on it for 10 years. It's now worth $20 million, pay it all down. And I've got, $10 million essentially sat there, good to go. But yeah, what is the goal? Have you got this set thing like by 42, I'm going to sell it all down? Because right now you're doing some development, like you're going from the acquisition phase, which is about buying all the asset base. And now you're starting to do the consolidation of getting the developments going. And then the next phase is the cash flow phase. It sounds like you kind of, you're still moving on it, but you're not acquiring anymore. You're landing and expanding what you've got.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we are still buying. We literally had like 2 deals settle like this year. So
yeah, watch your mouth, Joe.
But I mean, I don't know.
End goal.
The goalposts are always changing.
Yeah. How do you think about that? Like, is it one of these ones where it's like 45 done and dusted, packing up stumps, or how do you think about goal and retirement and that stuff?
I don't think I do. If I stop work,
I was just going to say that you're actually too young and successful to have an exit strategy, and that's a very privileged thing to have from hard work. But there's no point. Like, you're young, and if you're enjoying work, you're enjoying business, and you're enjoying property, why would you actually stop doing the things you enjoy? You're not going to sit up and just pull up stumps and be like, oh, now I sit in my Mount Barker property.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Like my goal is to, make property my everyday job. And that means, getting my business now self-run, however I'm going to do that. Like, I'm sort of working towards that. And then, making, property development my more day-to-day job. That's sort of how I see my future. is getting more involved with property and doing deals. So like we were saying before, like doing JVs and, getting investors to, help fund projects. Like I would really, enjoy doing that because there's a lot of value to it. But like in terms of retirement, I don't think I'll retire. Like I love it too much. I'm still young. And we've had these conversations, and every time we have this conversation, I just say,
what would you do?
Why are we even talking about this? Like, I'm 28, like my wife's 27. Like, retirement's so far away. Like, let's just head down, bum up, and keep going. And, when that time comes, we'll know.
Solid. Love that.
Beautiful.
That's and that's the wrong answer for a lot of people. Like, some people need that strategy, and they need to have that shining light, and it does shift and change, kind of like what Steve was talking about at the outset, where if you have kids and you have family, you have to think ahead, and then your strategy is probably going to be changing and get a little bit more clearer. But yeah, at 27, 28 with a $10 million property portfolio.
You got to remember, Joe, like 0.1% of the population have a 10 mil portfolio. So his strategy was the last period where he's bought all these properties of find the hidden gem, do the value add, get that plus the capital growth, get into the next one. And now that he's made it, he's got the plethora of options. It's cool. I want to have business on the side. I'll do developer full time. And like, you've actually got this choice. You'll get tired at some point as a 39-year-old. I can tell you, Thomas, you'll start getting a bit tired and start thinking. But if you had started this game at say 35 and you are now 45, exit strategies are a real thing because it's 10 years away for some people. But for you, like, young, healthy, as long as you don't have codeine, you're going to live a long, fruitful life. On a side note, my partner's actually allergic to ibuprofen, and she took it after a marathon for the first time and had a stomach bleed, and same thing as you, was in hospital and was dead for a few days.
Oh, my God, poor thing.
Wait, it took her that long, like, to go through her entire life to not have ibuprofen?
Yeah, that's impressive.
She never took it. She's just tougher than you, Joe. She's always knows she's like sensitive to drugs. So if she has like antihistamines, if she has like an antihistamine, she gets real groggy and sleepy. Like, she knows she's quite susceptible to some drugs, and she was just like knackered up. She did an ultra marathon, so she ran 100 kilometers. Was like, I'll take this. I'm pretty sore. And then went grey and was just like, proper.
She's a savage. Yeah, she's an absolute savage.
How'd she go on the 100K? Did she go all right?
Oh, she's done like 10 of them. So the best one she got, she came second in the all of the southern hemisphere in a New Zealand race.
Oh my God, do you run?
I'm a terrible runner. I do fitness. Fun story though. She's 2 weeks from giving birth, and she's still doing park runs on the weekend, which is 5 kilometers, and doing it sub 30.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I swear I saw her running a marathon. Like, did I see a picture of her like a professional photographer?
I think it's 7 months she was still running marathons. Right.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
I feel like this has been a very handy one for the tradies, like someone that's starting their business, maybe not starting their business, but just going back to more specifics or how you frame it and think about it. Because when you start making money in a company, you've kind of got your profits there. How do you think about buffers and how do you think about the financial side of making sure the business doesn't go to zero, because you need to feed the business profits and, well, not profits, but revenue. Do you have a framework that you think about when it comes to this property investing, mixing in business, and how do you?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you got to have your buffers in place, otherwise you'll just stress yourself out. And that's where your accountant comes in very handy, because you got to look at your outgoings and your ingoings. So we set aside like a certain amount in the business account. And then, we'll probably leave it in there for the financial year. And when it comes, June 30, we'll assess it, how well we did, and, make a decision on, what to do with that. And, you've obviously got to leave your cash reserves in your business, because as you guys probably know, that there's always a bill around the corner, and sometimes you don't expect it. So you got to err on the side of caution. with everything. It's good to have your buffers for your property because your hot water, gas, whatever might blow, and you got to cough up 5K. And if you're not set up for that, and you don't have the cash reserves for that, in business or out business, you're gonna stress yourself out. So that is very important.
Well, you've mitigated risk by buying fairly neutral properties as well. Like you probably could have, as business kind of improved in terms of cash flow, you probably could have went out and bought more Mount Barker type ones, $1 million ones, or not Mount Barker, just $1 million property that was negatively geared, $200 a week. Then that brings levels of stress because you're susceptible to interest rate rises, susceptible to business struggling for a period. So you've kind of protected yourself that way as well.
Yeah, yeah, up until now.
Yeah. So how does that feel, like being negative? Like you're now getting close to that negatively geared, I imagine. But also you've got a very successful business which spits off profit that is just going to sit there offsetting a lot of that, right?
Like, exactly. And then we're going through the motions now of the developing. So, cool. After running numbers on how much, it's going to cost to build and, get these houses done, we're sort of tossing up whether we sell them after the development's done, or if we hold on to them, because it should make the cash flow pretty decent once we get these developments done, because we're retaining the front house of Christie's and building 2 at the rear, and we're doing a similar thing at Happy Valley as well. Retaining the front house.
Not financial advice.
And then
chat to your accountant, but if you hold on to those assets, you got the GST waiver for 5 years, so you hold on to them for 5 years. You got the depreciation of a brand new asset, which is going to bring a whole heap of stuff down. So if you don't need to sell it, it's going to be a beautiful property. Nothing's going to go wrong with it, hopefully, if you choose the right builder. That's going to be super interesting. And then maybe after 5 years.
Can I ask a question? Because you're obviously in the trades and you're dealing with buildings that don't have walls quite a lot of the time. Is there anything you generally see that investors don't see or look out for when they're inspecting or looking at properties, or a common thing you're I see damp next to the shower all the time, and this is something that people don't look out for? Does any insider stuff that you always see that dodgy tradies do? Heaps.
All the time.
It's probably easy.
Builders are bloody horrible, man. That's a whole nother podcast, really. But
are there signs that you've seen, signs we can see, as the everyday punter?
This is the thing, probably not. And my workers always bring this up. We work for people, and we've seen it on other job sites where you're working away and you're just thinking, oh my god, the people who are building these houses, we feel so sorry for them, because they're spending a lot of money, but the end result actually looks half decent. A lot of the stuff they don't actually see, which is a scary thing. It'll be fine, but I mean, builders are trying to run a business and they're running on 5% profit margins, and no one's perfect. A lot of builders do muck up their pricing, and they do get screwed over by tradies and unknown costs as well. So you just gotta be really careful when it comes to doing your contracts, initial contracts, making sure that everything in that contract is signed off and everyone has a really good, clear understanding of the expectation of the build and exactly what you're going to get. So it's just important for the buyer who's getting a new building to really understand the process of buying a house, what's involved, and also really understanding the specs of different trades as well to get the best quality build, because a lot of the spec home builders will do the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's such a great insight that you have, though. Like, I was like, oh, you're going to have to go choose a builder, but all the builders in Adelaide, most of your portfolios in Adelaide, you like, yeah, these three guys are where I'm going to just compete each other against price and try and get the best deal because they build the best houses. Because you're just putting that plaster up, covering up all of the, not so great. You're the guy.
All the shonky work.
That's why you've got so much guilt, is because you're the one putting the seal on it and just being like, I'm so sorry. You didn't do it. You didn't do the dodgy wiring. You're okay. I think.
Yeah, but look, the majority of it is fine, but like you do notice things and you hear stories and you just think, oh my gosh, like this is a disaster. But the more I'm in business and the more like you venture out to different things, no industry is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except the buyer's agent industry.
Yeah.
really shining industry.
Right.
Yeah, we've got a list of questions, buyer's agent questions. We will post it in the comments because there are so many dodgy dingoes out there. Like everyone's now got this. Everyone who has a pulse is now becoming a buyer's agent. So ask these questions in the buyer's agent. We'll put them in the thing. Top 17 questions to find out if a buyer's agent is a shark or not. We got to run to our final sponsor, but I'm more interested about locations now. Your thoughts around, like, because you just said you bought 2 properties already. Where are we? What are we thinking? How do you think about locations? Like we were talking about Darwin before, these kind of like hot spots that don't really have much fundamentals. What's driving them? Where's the opportunity? And then finish off with a couple of questions up there. Let's rock and roll.
Everywhere you look, someone else is making money in property except for you. Your mate, he just bought a house. It's already gone up $100,000. There's some bloke on Facebook, he's bragging about pulling in a 7% rental yield. Meanwhile, you're stuck scrolling real estate and domain, confused as hell and having no idea about where to start. Or maybe you're that mate that's got $100,000 in equity. You have a few properties under your belt, but you feel stuck. You're unsure about how to scale without over-leveraging and not knowing what the next right move is. So why does it feel like everyone else has some kind of secret that you're missing out on? It's because they do. There's a reason some people keep stacking properties while others sit on the sidelines stacking excuses. There's a reason why some investors buy under market value while others pay too much. There's a reason why investors know the hot spots before there's any heat. And there's a reason that some people build $150,000 in passive income while others just spend years thinking about it. And it comes down to knowledge. And that's exactly why Jeff Miles and I, Joe Tucker, created the Level Up Property course to hand you the exact step-by-step process that we've used to buy over $100 million worth of property in today's market. We've built Australia's largest property investment community with over 80,000 members, and we help everyday investors secure hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity, all without wasting years of their life trying to figure it out the hard way. Making an uneducated decision on the biggest purchase in your life is just gambling with your future.
Stop it. Get some help.
And this isn't just another how to buy property course. Let's be clear though, this course isn't free. What? And neither should it be. This is our life's work. We've spent over 100 hours each on this course alone. Oh, babe. Okay, video number 3. Number 4 with million does... Fuck. Done. We've got decades of experience, millions of dollars in deals distilled into a repeatable process that you can take away for yourself. If you're looking for free advice, there's plenty of noise out there. You can go and find that if you'd like. But if you want real... actionable, step-by-step guided process that works in today's market, then this investment is going to change everything for you. By the time that you finish this course, you will have full confidence. You'll have every tool that you need to build an amazing portfolio if you act on it, right? Which is why we have mentoring built in. So we kick you up the butt to make sure that you're kicking your goals. So the real question is, how much longer are you going to watch everyone else making money in property before you jump in and start playing the property game properly? Because the sooner you start, the sooner you start winning.
Sooner you start winning, guys. Sooner you start winning.
Next ad needs to be a minute and a half. That one's way too long.
Too long, Joe.
I'm cutting that out. Sorry, guys. We will cut that down by a lot. Just join the class. Well, actually, one of the things we had, we did a deal review in the Oz property investor community, and the guy was adamant he's going to buy this property, and we did a full deal deep dive breakdown, and realized that it was an absolute mistake to buy this property. And it's kind of interesting because if you're just going hell for like I love people taking action and going, but you do still have to think and stop and assess and think about the area, think about the reason why you're buying in that area, not just because it's cheap, but why is there fundamentals? Anyway, he decided against it, and now onto the next deal, which is looking far better. So how do you think about locations, Thomas? We're out of South Australia now, I imagine, because you're quite heavy there. We've already had a lot of growth. How do you think about locations? Where do you see the next opportunity? If you're starting out today in 2026, what are you thinking?
Yeah, and I always look at this, like if I was buying my first house, where would I go? And that's how I've looked at property investing in Adelaide. Like, I want a big land. I love a good big backyard. That's the Australian dream. And in a desirable location. And this day and age, I think that is south of Adelaide. In your Morphett Vale, Christie's sort of pocket
You're
in
still
there.
buying there. You still think that there's like, I mean, Morphett Vale went from 400 to 850 now. It's over 100%. It's going,
you can still purchase properties for 650 there. But yeah, I think that area, they have the best wine regions in Australia. And they're the best beaches in Adelaide. Like, to be honest, I think Adelaide stuffed up where they put the CBD. Like, it is so nice down there. And like the prices are just going through the roof. Like, someone was telling me the other day that someone bought a development site in Christie Downs, just a block of land for $1 million. And that is just ridiculous. Like, you should be really spending like $450-$500 on a block of land for the same size.
What about other locations outside of Adelaide? Like, have you got your eyes or fingers on the pulse and anywhere else?
Not necessarily. Like, I still think Melbourne has some legs as well. I was looking at Tassie a couple months ago. Like, I think that's at a pretty good price point now.
What drew you there?
Pardon?
What drew you there?
Just scrolling, honestly. I
imagine yields are like 4.5-5%, right? Like, I guess that's kind of in line with your strategy that you've been using for South Australia. Whereas Victoria is at the 3.5 to 4%, somewhere in between there.
Yeah. I mean, like, when I look at Victoria, like, I'm looking at some pretty banged up like properties that need a bit of work. So if you're willing to get your hands dirty, like, I still think you can still buy a few good opportunities there, but you're gonna have to do some work to be able to get them up to scratch. But yeah, like you said, Tassie has a good yield attached to it. And close to the CBD too, and great views too. That looks amazing.
I hope that's beautiful. So okay, cool. So Tassie, potentially Victoria still. How do you think about these renovations now, because you're not there? Like, one of the things you said right at the beginning was like, I did a $30,000 reno. I reckon in reality that was a $60,000-$70,000 reno, but you had all the access to the trades, you did a lot of the work yourselves. It would have really cost you 70. So is that what's happening over there in Victoria now when you're doing these ones? Like, you're starting to pay like real prices for them, or have you got
I haven't done any renos. Like, I've looked into it a bit, and like actually been in touch with like the property managers who are looking at our Norlane place and said, hey, like, say if we did, for whatever reason, buy this property, how would you go managing like a renovation, just a cosmetic renovation? And so, yeah, like it would be a complete nightmare, but it's possible. You'd probably have to fly down there, honestly, to get an idea, because my eyes across something, like I might be able to pick up something that no one else would see. So yeah, like it does become a bit logistically hard. And hence why I bought all these properties in Adelaide, because like I've really put my trade to work.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm taking away from this session, and it's not been said, but is the sheer volume of properties that you have had to look at to be able to get the properties that you've been able to achieve, and how they're ugly and nobody else wants to touch them. And then the price goes for too much and then you lose it. Then the price goes for too much, then you lose it. But these kind of acquisitions that you're making, like one with another granny flat on the back that's already there, that's $550,000, like they don't come up very often. You know, they might come up in a market once every, 2, 3 a year. And then they go to market and they go for crazy. And is there a lot of time searching? Because I feel like it feels like it's been like, oh, cool. And then I just bought this and bought that. Like, I don't know if it's that easy.
He said that word actually, and I was going to pick on that, Joe. He's like, oh yeah, investing's easy. And I'm like, no, you're going to auctions, you're looking at properties, you're looking at all these crap properties to find another crap property that you can turn into a good property. Like it's not easy. And one of the points I think, I can see how you talk about it, you actually love doing it. And this is where I'm going to pump mine and Joe's tires up. That's when you do it yourself. When you don't love it the same as you, that's probably when a buyer's agent might be right for you.
Yeah, exactly right. And like I've been to thousands of opens and thousands of auctions. You're 100% right. There's a passion for it. I love, working on property just as much as, the income that it brings to me, and my wife. So yeah, there's a level of love there that's, a lot of people don't have. And, a few of my mates have, looked at my story and they've tried to do the same thing and they just absolutely hated it. They thought it was the worst. So yeah, it is not for everyone, like my strategy. I get that. And I think that's, why we have done so well. And we are in the position that we are now. But yeah, like even that granny flat in O'Sullivan's Beach, it was just a garage, a brick substrate garage. And the thing like had shit falling out of everywhere. So yeah, like we're saying, like not everyone, like every generic person would have walked into that and, just smelt the smell and said, nah, why would I buy this? Whereas I walk into something like that and I see opportunity.
You're using a specific skill set. So like I'm sort of the opposite of you. I did my first couple of renos on my properties and I bloody hated it. Like I literally hated every moment of the renovation and all that type of stuff. So I was like, I'm never doing that again. I'm going to pay people to do it. But then I think Joe's probably similar. I went right into the data. And no offense, I'm going to make an assumption here. I think I'm probably looking at more data than you are, Thomas. And I was 100%. Like, I'm going to make my money from the data. Like that's how I'm going to do it. So like, but that's what I like. I'm a numbers guy. I hated picking up the hammer, laying carpet, painting walls. But you're loving the tradie side of it as well. So you've got a cool thing that you can look at stuff that other people can't.
Yeah.
Such a good point. You've utilized the skill, like you've utilized your specific skill set to the highest degree and taken full advantage of it. And it's incredible. Like it's amazing to see what it looks like at a high level. And you've just absolutely crushed this. People, anyone that has any questions, throw them in because we want to get to a couple of them. We do have someone here taking notes. So my math says 7 properties, $4.3 million, current valuation around $7 million. What have I missed? What does he
also
miss,
said he's 28, but I think he's 28.3 years old.
You probably, well, yeah. You better.
There's a few there we haven't got to yet.
Yeah, that was Steve's comment. We haven't finished quite yet.
Yeah.
So So you got another couple of acquisitions under your belt. And when you start these developments, it's just going to skyrocket. When you are able, if you've got the cash and the equity to be able to then put 2 extra dwellings on the back that are going to be worth $600,000-$700,000, it's mental. And that the acreage, I mean, that'll get converted eventually, and you'll just be able to have a 50-lot subdivision or whatever it is going to be absurd. And you've got the cash.
I want to touch on a point, because like I talk to people all day every day, same as you, Joe. Like people talk, and I mentioned it briefly before about diversifying. Like, oh, why don't you diversify? You actually, because of your skill set, do not have to diversify. If anything, I'd actually probably say, like, probably don't go buy in Hobart. Keep doing what you're doing, because you're buying a 500K property, making 200K just from doing your thing. And if it grows by 200K, you're getting close to 80, 90% capital growth effectively net result. What will happen, I imagine, with you is you'll just change your regions. So like we were talking about like Christie's Downs, and then you'll probably go down to Aldinga Beach, and then what's by there? Is it Cape Jarvis or whatever it's called? Like you'll just probably keep moving to the fringes to get your value, or the prices will be so high people aren't buying, and there'll be opportunity there because it's no longer affordable. So you'll just shift your strategy based on your skill set, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like diversifying, like, I mean, the next one that we bought was in Edwardstown, which is close to the city, and a really like nice and up and coming area. We bought a 950 square meter block, and we bought that for 1.2. So that is just like completely changing our what's worked for us, and diving into the deep end, but running the numbers of the development, like we should make 850K on the development. So
so do like that. Are you going to run that, because that's a lot? You've now got a lot of debt, and are you going to run that now? Like, are you going like, cool, we got the development, let's knock this shit down and get it done? Because one of the mistakes I see, like, want to be developers, like they want everything. They have this shiny object syndrome. They're like, cool, it has to have this. And then they acquire a large block of land that, yes, it can be subdivided, but then they're paying an extra $200,000 for this lot of land. And then they don't, oh yeah, I'll subdivide it in 10 years. And it's like, yeah, but you can put 5 lots on it, but you've just ruined your borrowing capacity because the tenant isn't going to pay it. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case for you, but have you? Yeah, it kind of you think ahead.
You're exactly right. Like this one, we will get plans done, within the next few months, and then we'll start the build straight away, and then sell it. Like we're not holding on to these properties.
I thought that would be the case. Good head on your shoulders. So that's a little lesson for someone that's thinking about development for your first, second, or third property. Just if you build up an asset base, and then eventually you can then buy these development sites and do them right away, because you don't need to hold a massive block, get bugger all rent, be hyper negative. I've seen it. I see it where it then hamstrings people. They've got too much land, they can't go anymore. And then they can't do the development because they can't afford it, because there's not enough equity in it, and it kind of stinks them.
He also hasn't done it straight away. He's got a $7 million portfolio at this point in time, before he's really diving into these things.
Yeah,
it's funny. You're not slowing down or whatsoever. You're like, oh, stop acquiring at 30. No, you won't. No, you won't. You just start doing it for other people.
And he call himself a buyer's agent soon. Let's be honest, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. No, you'll be smart enough not to go into the buyer's agent space. You
watch out,
be a developer, kick your feet back, relax, and just do a couple of deals a year. Live your best life. That's awesome, man. There's actually not too many comments, man. I think we've actually gone pretty deep and into detail, and there's no real comments outside of some silly ones like Sydney is king. But it's been an unreal conversation.
Thank you,
is there anything we should have asked that you wanted to kind of go a little deeper on, or any kind of like message out there for other people that might be in a similar situation to you, or might be struggling, or I don't know. You don't need to be a motivator, but
I mean, like I know that this conversation has only gone for an hour and a half, and when you hear it all at once, it sounds like it's just been a bit of a walk in the park, but it hasn't been. Like, there's been so many stressful nights where you get home and you look at your steering wheel and you're just like, man, like, is this worth it? Like, this is just brutal hard work. And your mindset just comes into it. Like, you've just got to be really mind strong. And if you want something, no one else is going to help you but yourself. So until you realize that, and you start putting a plan, and then putting it into action, once the few things, will go your way, it'll start to snowball. And then if you're anything like me, if it starts snowballing, you won't get enough of it, and you'll just keep on going.
Yeah. I always think, like, if there's $100,000 in the path and you know how to pick it up, people just pick it up. You get good at it. You become great at something, and you're like, oh, there's 100,000. Oh, well, I'll just pick this one up. I'll just do this. Like, once you get great at something, it's kind of what you're amazing at. So you want to do it. You want to get good results and keep going and keep learning and keep growing as someone. Yeah. What about you, Steve? Any final thoughts? What are your thoughts on all of this?
My takeaway is, like, you don't have to be the king of jack of all trades. You don't have to know everything about property. You can stay in your lane of, I know Adelaide really well, and I know how to gut a house and fix it up and do that. I don't know how to do that. I did it a different way. You've done probably a bit of a combination, Joe. You've done the renos, you've done the developments, you've done the data, like you mix. So you work to your strengths. And that's why I was saying to Thomas, you don't necessarily have to be the guy who's looking in Hobart and Darwin and this. Like, if you're making a few $100,000 every single deal, rinse and repeat till that stops working.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So bloody true.
Exactly.
Thomas, this is the point where we ask, hey, do you want to promote? Well, we don't say promote, but do you want to talk about your business? Like, do you want, how do people get plasterers in their life? Or do you want to keep that on the download? Like, how do people get more Thomas in their life? Or talk about whatever you want to talk
about. If you're in Adelaide or you're in Australia and you want to fly us out, that'd be even better. The company is called Modtex. So just jump onto modtex.com.au and MODTEX. So it's short for Modern Textures. We're on socials, Instagram. Check us out. We do some pretty cool stuff. So thanks for having me on, guys.
This has been awesome.
This has been a great
One
story,
more
man.
thing, we missed our newest owner op, which we got this year as well.
Where is that?
We got this we're in Crafers again, so up in the Adelaide Hills again. So this one here, this will be our op, but same thing as Edwardstown. Like, we bought it for mid ones, so we just want to be in here for 2-3 years. I'm going to completely renovate the house and move it on, and we've got this one in our personal names so that we can make the most of the tax man.
Such a good strategy. I'm like, not enough, and not that I can say anything, but that strategy is unreal. Like, when you keep going PPI, obviously it's not a business. It's just, I don't like this house anymore and I want to upgrade. I want it tax free. Like, if you can make $500,000 every single time.
That's probably a really cool takeaway for this episode, where he had the PPOR and he sold it to a trust. Like, that's a big ballsy move. Like, paying stamp duty a second time for the sake of getting a bit more borrowing capacity. So, like, you haven't done it easy.
No, and I kind of think about that as no disrespect, but it's a dumb tax, right? You paid a ridiculous amount of money because you didn't get the advice up front. You didn't speak to sophisticated investors. You didn't structure your shit correctly. So you ended up paying, like, you had $1.1 million. What is that? $40,000, $50,000 of
I imagine, Thomas, you didn't know at the time, though. Your business was probably growing. You're like, this is where we're going to be forever. And then property went really well. Business went really well. And you're like, okay, maybe this is forever.
Yeah, exactly. The intentions were right when we initially purchased the house. And, our circumstances changed in our situation.
But again, a good broker like Peter Savage, who's actually a savage. Like, if you see socials, Joe, it's hilarious. He just swears like a mofo. He's that guy, tatted neck tattoos, swears, but he's awesome what he does. But he's he's got that personality that probably told Thomas, like, this is worth doing. Let's give it a crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, you didn't let that deter you, and you didn't let it sit. You made the decision to do something of paying an additional $50,000. Like, that's my takeaway from this is your mindset is just so strong to not let you down, to say, okay, there is another way. What if, how, what, who, when, where, how do we make this happen? Anybody, no matter who you are, you can ask more questions. You can get more specific. You can reach out to other people, like, do it, because this guy's freaking crushed it by doing it. So thank you very much for tonight. Steve Polisi of Polisi Property. If you need a commercial property, well, actually, maybe Thomas, you might be a client in 5 years or so, buying that.
Commercial's easy, Joe. Just go buy anyone. Go buy an office space.
I'm going to go buy a shed. I'm going to go buy a shed. And yeah, I'll just do it. Love it, guys. Thank you very much. Any final thoughts? Anything? Let's go buy a property, guys.
That was bloody awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, guys.